Between these two numbers, who are you giving Player of the Month to? I think it could have been Caitlin Clark. I think it should have been Caitlin Clark. Kelsey Mitchell undoubtedly had a great month. I'm not going to take it away from her, but what's the more valuable piece of the car, the engine or the exhaust, right? What's underneath the hood, or what's, you know what I'm saying, or the interior? What's underneath the hood? If what underneath the hood isn't working, well, that interior is just gonna sit there. It might be a nice interior, might be leather, might.
That is the argument ripping this award apart. Kelsey Mitchell scored more. Caitlin Clark controlled more and won.
Well, if you thought that, wrong. Kelsey Mitchell, a historic month for Kelsey Mitchell. She is the WNBA Eastern Conference Player of the Month for July. 27.2 points per game, nearly 50% from the field, over 46% from three, 2.8 assists per game. Now,
Kelsey Mitchell is officially the Eastern Conference Player of the Month for July, and nobody can call that award undeserved. 27.22 points per game, nearly 50% shooting from the field, and more than 46% from three is an absurd scoring month. That is not a sympathy trophy. That is not a lifetime achievement award. Mitchell was destroying defenses. But the controversy starts because Caitlin Clark had already won 2 of the weekly awards during that same month. Mitchell won 1. So, when the monthly honor went to Mitchell, fans immediately asked a simple question. If Clark was judged to be the best player in the conference for more individual weeks, how did she lose the award covering the entire month? There may be a reasonable answer, but the part that should concern Clark fans comes later because the same logic used here could become a preview of how voters handle the MVP race.
Caitlin Clark, your WNBA Eastern Conference Player of the Week for the 3rd time this season, going back to back. Player of the Week, 25.7 points per game, 53.7 field goal percentage, 9 assists, and 5 rebounds per game.
Those are Clark's numbers from her latest Player of the Week award. 25.7 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds, and 53.7% shooting. That is elite scoring combined with elite creation. And creation is the key word because Clark's value cannot be measured only by how many points appear beside her name. Every possession she initiates can produce points for somebody else. A pass to Mitchell for an open 3 does not increase Clark's scoring average, but it changes the game just as much as a made basket. That creates the central disagreement. Are these awards supposed to recognize the player with the most dominant individual scoring output, or the player who influences the greatest amount of offense? Mitchell has the cleaner headline number. 27 points per game jumps off the page. Clark's case requires you to look at several categories together. Her scoring, assists, efficiency, pace, defensive attention, and reduced minutes all have to be considered as one package. That makes the debate more complicated than 2 weekly awards versus 1. Weekly honors or snapshots. Player of the Month judges the full body of work. A player can win 2 separate weeks and still lose the overall award if another player was more consistent across every game or had the stronger total month. But that explanation only works if the monthly comparison clearly favors Mitchell. Once you look at the full numbers side by side, the choice becomes much less comfortable. Next,
Caitlin Clark's month of July versus Kelsey Mitchell's month of July. Shout out to Millie for posting. I'm Millie Rock on any block. Shout out to Millie for posting the stats. 22.6 points per game. Caitlin, months of July. There we go. Months of July. Caitlin Clark, 22.6 points per game, 4.3 rebounds per game, 7.5 assists per game on 59% effective field goal percentage, 68% true shooting, and 26.9 minutes per game. Caitlin Clark was averaging about 23 and 4 on 27 minutes.
Now we have the actual comparison. Clark averaged 22.6 points, 4.3 rebounds, and 7 and 1 to 2 assists in only 26.9 minutes per game. Her effective field goal percentage was 59%, and her true shooting percentage was 68%. Mitchell averaged roughly 27 points, 2.7 assists, and fewer than 2 rebounds while playing 32.6 minutes. Her effective field goal percentage was also 59% with a true shooting percentage of 64%. That means Mitchell held the scoring advantage, and it was significant, more than 4 additional points per game. But Clark produced almost 5 more assists, grabbed more rebounds, scored with higher overall efficiency, and did it while playing nearly 6 fewer minutes each night. The minutes matter because per-game statistics can hide how much production a player generated while actually on the floor. Clark was putting up approximately 23 points and 8 assists in 27 minutes. Extend that workload to Mitchell's minutes, and the raw statistical gap begins to change. That does not automatically make Clark the winner. More minutes are not always a punishment. Availability, conditioning, and the ability to sustain production through a heavy played those minutes and delivered. She should receive credit for that. But voters cannot celebrate Mitchell's larger scoring total without also considering that Clark had less court time to accumulate statistics. Otherwise, they are rewarding volume while ignoring right and roll. And this is where the award becomes a philosophical vote. Mitchell was the league's more explosive scorer in July. Clark was the more complete offensive system. Which one matters more?
Look, Kelsey Mitchell, the moment she found out she was Eastern Conference Player of the Month, Brianne January, ecstatic. She threw a parade outside. This is them.
We got an Eastern Conference Player of the Month. Yeah!
Congratulations to Kelsey Mitchell. Congratulations to Kelsey Mitchell. She is earning that name, Money Mitch back. She's earning.
The reaction inside the building tells you how much this meant to Mitchell. Her teammates and coaches were genuinely excited, and they should have been. She has spent years producing in Indiana, often without this level of national attention, team success, or recognition. That context matters. Mitchell did not suddenly become a great scorer because Clark arrived. She was already one of the most dangerous guards in the league. What changed is the environment around her. Now she has more space. Defenses are forced to extend farther from the basket. Help defenders hesitate because Clark can find the open player instantly. Transition opportunities arrive faster. Mitchell can attack a rotating defense instead of constantly creating against a set one. But that relationship works both ways. Clark benefits from having a scorer who can turn difficult possessions into points. When teams trap Clark, Mitchell becomes the release valve. When Clark's outside shot is not falling, Mitchell can carry the scoring load. When a defense sends 2 players toward the ball, Mitchell punishes the opening before the defense can recover. So framing Mitchell as merely the beneficiary of Clark's presence would be unfair. She is converting those opportunities at a historic level. Plenty of players receive open looks. Very few average 27 points while shooting 46% from 3. The most accurate description is not that one player created the other. It is that their skills magnify each other. Clark creates advantages. Mitchell finishes them. Mitchell's scoring forces defenses to loosen their coverage. That gives Clark more room to operate. The irony is that their partnership may also split individual recognition when both guards dominate. Voters must decide which part of the machine deserves the award. Next vote.
Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell played so well. Such a dynamic duo in the backcourt that it had Stephanie White get Coach of the Month. You know how good you must be as a backcourt to convince people that Stephanie White is deserving of Coach of the Month? Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark should split that award. Co-Coaches of the Month. Caitlin Clark and Kelsey.
The host jokes that Clark and Mitchell should split Coach of the Month because their play made Stephanie White look deserving. Beneath the sarcasm is a serious point about how awards shape narratives. Indiana went 8-2 in July. When a team wins at that rate, credit usually gets divided among the stars and the coaching staff. The guards receive player awards. The coach receives recognition for the record. The organization gets praised for finding a winning formula. But coaching awards are not supposed to mean the coach personally produced every successful possession. They recognize management, preparation, rotations, adjustments, and results. White's job was to put the roster in positions where its strength could decide games. That includes managing Clark's minutes, organizing an offense around 2 high-usage guards, and finding ways to keep Mitchell aggressive without turning Clark into a spectator. Those responsibilities are more difficult than they look. 2 elite offensive guards can coexist badly. One can dominate the ball while the other disappears. Their preferred tempo can conflict. Defensive weaknesses can become impossible to cover. Shot distribution can create resentment. The fact that Indiana's backcourt produced this efficiently while winning 8 of 10 games reflects more than raw talent. Fans may dislike certain rotations or late game decisions, and those criticisms can still be valid. Coach of the Month does not erase every questionable timeout, substitution, or defensive scheme. It simply means voters believed Indiana's July results were the strongest coaching achievement in the conference. The comedy comes from the gap between how supporters view the team and how award voters view it. Fans often see Clark and Mitchell rescuing possessions. Voters see a successful team coached to an 8-2 month. Both interpretations can contain some truth. Next,
and then we have Coach of the Month. Stephanie White led us to an 8-2 record in July and was named WNBA Coach of the Month. You take a look at Stephanie White's stats. She averaged 347 per week. She averaged closed fists 6 times per day. When it comes to the games, she averaged her arms crossed about 33.7 minutes per game. When it came to her arms on the folded on the sides like this, 6 minutes per game. She sat on her bench chomping on her gum about 13 minutes per game. And the most impressive stat of them,
the exaggerated statistics about folded arms, gum chewing, clenched fists, and sideline movements are obviously jokes. But they capture the frustration some Fever supporters still have with White. Winning has not ended the debate over whether Indiana is maximizing its roster. Every loss becomes a referendum on rotations. Every scoring drought raises questions about offensive organization. Every stretch with Clark on the bench becomes a social media emergency. That is the reality of coaching the most scrutinized team in the league. White is not evaluated like a coach guiding an ordinary contender. Every possession is replayed, clipped, and argued over. If Indiana wins, Clark's brilliance gets the credit. If Indiana loses, the coach's decisions receive the blame. Coach of the Month pushes back against that one-sided narrative. An 8-2 record does not happen by accident, especially in a league where opponents repeatedly prepare for your primary actions. Once teams know what Clark and Mitchell want to run, the coaching staff has to add counters. The Fever also had to balance immediate success with protecting players over a packed schedule. Clark's 26.9 minutes per game in the July sample became part of the Player of the Month debate, but those reduced minutes may have helped maintain her efficiency and limit physical wear. That creates another contradiction. Fans can argue Clark would have produced larger totals with more minutes. Yet, the coaching staff may deserve credit for finding a workload that helped Indiana keep winning. The same decision that weakened Clark's raw award resume may have strengthened the team. This is why individual awards are never completely individual. Coaching affects minutes. Teammates affect spacing. Defensive schemes affect efficiency. Team record affects perception. The final vote compresses all those connected factors into one name.
Per game. You take a look at Kelsey Mitchell, 27 points, 2.7 assists per game, 1.9 rebounds per game, on 59% effective field goal, 64 shooting percentage, and 32.6 minutes per game. Who is your Player of the Month? Between these two numbers, who are you giving Player of the Month to? I think it could have been Caitlin Clark. I think it should have been Caitlin Clark. Kelsey Mitchell undoubtedly had a great month. I'm not going to take it away from her, but